Hey guys, welcome to TCR. Sid here. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Things are getting crazy out there. What are you doing to prepare for it? Let's talk about it. As you can see, I am in our prepper pantry, which is stocked with a lot of things that we have pressure canned and made over the last year during different growing seasons and processing seasons, as well as a lot of canned and dry goods that are stored behind me. We built this room specifically to have an area for prep, to keep the things that we use for canning, to keep the canned items, and to be able to keep them in a way that we can cycle through them and keep track of them. Unless you're blind, you have definitely noticed that prices at the grocery store have gone up. The cost of living in general has gone up. You may be asking yourself, what can I do, to prepare, or what should I have done already? The answer is you should have been preparing all along. Should be something that is a normal part of your life, to keep a certain amount of food, water, and supplies on hand in case of not just an emergency on a weather or health or global level, but on a I lost my job. I can either pay my rent or I can eat. Well, if you've been kind of slowly stockpiling things as they're on sale, even if it's not a large amount, if maybe you're by yourself or in a small apartment or something like that, you can still keep a certain amount of those things. So what if you haven't done that at all and you're now looking down the barrel of, I hate to say the R word, but the potential of the R word, recession. Prices on things are crazy. They only seem to be getting worse, and there doesn't seem to be a real end in sight. What do I recommend that you do? We've been through this before. Mike and I have struggled over the years. We've been together a long time, and back in 2008 when the housing market crashed, we had just bought our first house, and immediately, all of a sudden, we were $100,000 in the hole on that house. And then we had a baby. And I wasn't working as much, and money was tight. Things were rough. One of the things that we did to help combat that was buy things when they're on sale. Buy your veggies when they're on sale. Buy your canned goods when they're on sale. Keep a little bit of extra when you have a little bit of extra, so that when you don't have any extra, you can still feed yourself for the week, for the month. It may not be the thing that you really want to eat. Maybe not the healthiest options, maybe not the tastiest options, but they will keep you alive. Sometimes when you're starting out or when you're ending up, you get yourself in those positions where you have a rough month. And having some things like this on the shelf, some beans, some dry beans, some canned foods that you keep on hand, makes it a lot easier to get yourself through these humps financially. And I know everybody's facing it, everybody's feeling it, we're all complaining about it. But I can tell you this, those of you that are watching this right now that consider yourselves preppers are probably not feeling the pinch as strongly as people who aren't prepared at all, who have nothing in their cupboard, who've never thought about, it's that old, I can't think of it right now, but it's that old fable about like the ant and the squirrel or something like that, or the grasshopper and the squirrel, that's what it is. Where the grasshopper just lives in heyday and doesn't worry about tomorrow, but the squirrel's been squirreling away nuts and food all summer so that in the winter it can survive. And think of this as winter. This is one of those periods where it's a good idea to kind of think a few months ahead and think, gee, I've got a little extra money this week. I may not have that next week. I see that there's canned beans on sale. Or I see that there's this on sale at the store, I should have that. Now I can use the beginning of COVID as a good example where, there was a lot of run on things at the store and people were, everybody remembers the great toilet paper run of 2020. We didn't have that problem because there's certain things like toilet paper that I've always made sure that we had a supply of. Cleaning wipes, cleaning supplies, bleach and things like that, even vodka. Because you can make a cleaner out of that if you need to, among other things, of course. But having those things on hand when the stores were bare and everybody was initially freaking out and didn't want to leave their house because we didn't know what was going on, we didn't know what to believe, I was okay. We were okay because I had stockpiled some of that. I didn't have to get, I think 6 months went by before, and things had calmed down by then. before I ventured to get toilet paper again. We were fine. I even gave some to my neighbor who needed some in the meantime because I had extra. And it wasn't because I was hoarding when the supply was low. It was because I had planned ahead and made sure that I had a certain amount, because then when times are tight, I can say, ooh, I don't need this. I've got enough for a few weeks. Ooh, I can hold off on this because it's almost like a savings account for your goods that you have on hand. So you're almost borrowing from yourself. And again, just keeping in mind that the things that perish, like your food items, make sure you're cycling through them in a timely manner and you're eating them before they go expired. I know a lot of you are feeling discouraged. I know not everybody lives the way we do. I get that. But this is a good time to teach yourself some skills like canning your own food, making your own stocks out of, when you bake a chicken, make a stock out of it, out of the carcass, save your veggie scraps when you cut them, stick them in a Ziploc bag, stick them in the freezer. Use that to start your pot of stock. So you don't even have to go out and buy onions and carrots and all that, because you've got the little scraps of it that you've saved up in the freezer from the last few times you cooked. Now, some of that stuff may seem simple and like, oh gee, why didn't I think of that? But in the long run, teaching yourself these skills are invaluable. How to budget a little bit, how to think of your food bank in your own house as your own food savings account, your own supply savings account. So when things are tight like they are now, or shelves are a little bit bare like they are now in some places, that you're okay. You can get through the hump. You have the skills to make sure that you're okay, to make some of the foods that you need, to grow some of the foods that you need, to harvest some of the foods that you need, whether it be through raising them and processing them yourself, or whether it be from hunting wherever you are. Quail is a great one because a lot of times you can get away with that on a patio in a suburb with a neighbor that's, on a postage stamp size yard, and nobody's gonna do anything about it because they're so easy and quiet and you can process them and they're quick turnover. We've done videos on quail. I always recommend them for people in those situations to be a little bit more self-sufficient, because you get your eggs and you get your meat. Bada bang. Thinking of things like that right now to get us through the next year or two, I think are going to be important. So if you see this video, if this comes across your page here, even if you don't normally follow us and this is the first time you're seeing me, realize there's things that you can do to make this go a little bit more smoothly for yourself. And I know people say, oh, I don't have the money now to start doing this. It's literally buying one extra can every time you go to the store. And you'll be surprised how quickly you end up when they're on sale, mind you. You buy the thing that's on sale that you will eat. Don't buy something weird that you'll never eat unless you were like on death's door. Buy things you'll eat that are on sale, one can at a time if you have to. Make your own food bank. Make yourself self-reliant so that when things get a little bit tighter, I think over the next year or two, you'll be covered, because I want you all to be okay. We got to take care of each other. So do some things like this. Think about that and prepare a little bit. Even if it's not something that's ever been on your radar before, I think now it's kind of on everybody's radar. So take care of each other, be kind to one another, don't hoard, but be prepared. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you get the notifications.